This adorable puppy can now breathe a sigh of relief after its heroic owner dove into a murky swamp to rescue it from the jaws of a hungry alligator. After getting its arms and legs torched in a wildfire, this baby kangaroo remains calm and appreciative when a helpful woman rubs cool water on its burns. The confusion on this baby fox's face is palpable when it gets tangled in a soccer net and luckily gets the assistance of a kind stranger who cuts it loose and massages its limbs back to health. Rather than take off in a mad dash running, this baby seal takes a moment to express gratitude to the men who snipped off a deadly fishing line from its neck.
It's a pleasure.
This dog's emotional state goes from fear to gratitude in a matter of seconds after a brave police officer cuts it loose from an entangled bedsheet. These two massive swans were in such desperate need of help, they leaned on a nearby human to rescue them from a very precarious situation. Thanks to this diver and boat crew, a sea turtle speeds off into the deep blue ocean after getting released from a giant fishing net that was slowing it down. This terrified bobcat was caught in a bear trap for so long that even after being released, it remained frozen in place out of pure fear. Unable to get up from the slick ice of a frozen lake, this beautiful deer's fear quickly turns into confusion when it gets a neat ride from two compassionate ice skaters. In a forest engulfed in flames, this koala meanders around with no exit until a fearless woman rips the shirt off her back and comes in for the rescue. This seagull that's trapped in extremely dangerous power lines is likely thanking its lucky stars for how amazingly talented this helicopter pilot is. It's almost as if this nurse shark was asking for help as it remained still, enabling the diver to remove a steak knife from its skull.
We see it reaching its hand out very slowly, very carefully approaching it, and finally he puts his hand on the knife and pulls it out as the shark starts to swim away. But it left
This man rescues a deadly king cobra from a fishing net and then offers it water because it was dehydrated after the long-awaited rescue. grateful elephant family gives an audible thank you to the team that rescued their baby from a giant hole in the ground. Hopefully, this nosy raccoon feels grateful for its rescue after it ripped up a roof and attempted to break into an unsuspecting house. This lost and hungry wolf's day gets made when a passerby stops his truck only to break out a delicious hunk of bacon and then later follows the car wanting more. This terrified deer is so shocked by its release from a gate that it nearly lodges itself in the gate again instead of running off to be free. This wild goat hangs out for a second or two to give thanks to the rescue team that courageously released it from treacherous power lines. We can only hope that this elephant is grateful for its rescue from a man-made canal, because an entire village came together to make it happen. This massive killer whale writhes in pain and confusion when a team of rescuers attempts to release it from frozen blocks of sharp ice. As a means to grub food off of local villagers, this crafty and bold elephant stops traffic, and the plan totally works. Before running off into the forest, this pretty fawn lays down to recuperate its legs after being rescued from a trap created by two trees. Terrified and potentially deadly to humans, these two huge bucks erratically struggle in an attempt to free themselves from knotted-up barbed wire. But luckily, they had humans help them that day. Getting covered in wet towels, sprayed with water, and sitting in the hot sun for hours must have been traumatic for this orca that got trapped by a low tide. Whale rescuers worked for almost 8 hours to keep the killer whale wet until the tide came back and finally was free.
Yes! Oh my God.
In an act of gratitude, this shark circles back several times to thank the fearless scuba diver that removed a giant fishing hook from its neck. The look on this thankful doggie's face is priceless as it peers up at all the firemen that teamed up to save his life from a house fire. Just by the sound of this cat's meow, you can instantly tell that it's in serious danger and in desperate need of immediate help. After being trapped in a tree for nearly 2 days, this grateful zebra foal reunites with its family that remained close in helplessness and disbelief. This 2-year-old moose buck is definitely looking forward to thawing out after being submerged in a frozen lake for hours. Scared, shocked, and exhausted, this giraffe mentally collects itself after being stuck in a tiny pool for a long period of time.